Rahul Velde became a friend after I researched the stories for my book of people overcoming setbacks, and his story of 26/11 Mumbai attacks was inspirational. Welcome back to the next episode, and I'm your host Sana Chawla and the author of the book The Magic Within. Sometimes I wonder if one can ever be prepared enough for a disaster. What comes to play when we are thrown into the direst of circumstances? Or are we forced enough to look death in its face? Rahul's story is one of survival, and yet, as he said, he could have easily have not been one of the survivors. His story, The Sweep of Terror, goes this way. 26 November 2008. The day started off like any other day. I was in Mumbai on one of my regular business trips and in my hotel room at the Taj Mahal Palace Hotel. I even remember the room number, 666. The India-England match was playing on television, and somewhere in the distance, I heard what sounded like firecrackers. A voice inside me said, "If it's too soon for people to be celebrating a win, the match is far from over." Feeling a sense of foreboding, I craned my head towards the noise. Did that really sound like firecrackers? I began to grow uncomfortable as my doubts escalated. And then the ugly truth was unveiled. This was not firecrackers or the gang fight I had suspected. And as the TV channel originally reported, this was a full-blown terrorist attack on Mumbai. Some of the most important landmarks were under siege, including the iconic Taj Hotel, where I sat, stunned. I called the reception and was told to stay in my room. Something terrible was happening, and the news of the attack was broadcast all over the world. Terrorists armed with guns had taken over the hotel. The silence was deadly, except for the intermittent sounds of gunshots. Around midnight, there was a loud explosion, and part of the hotel, on the opposite sides of the wing where I was in, was on fire. My room started getting warmer, and I could see swirls of smoke exiting from the windows. While all of this was going on, the television transmission stopped, but thankfully, my cell phone was still working. I kept in touch with my boss in the US and sent frantic messages to friends, letting them know where exactly I was in case anything happened to me. By 4 a.m., I was sick with worry and all kinds of thoughts clouded my mind. If I were to just stay in the room, wouldn't I die anyway? What was my chance of survival? The room was heating up rapidly. What if I suffocated? I made up my mind and decided to run downstairs. Through a text message, a friend had advised me to cover myself with a wet blanket to protect myself from fire. I grabbed a blanket of the bed and doused it in water, then wrapped it around my shoulders and made my way out of the room. Where was the fire exit? Do I turn left or right? I simply relied on instinct and kept running, my life in my hands. I kept hearing loud gunshots, stomping of feet, and even some cries of anguish. I somehow managed to find the fire exit staircase, and as I made my way down 6 flights of stairs, I decided to throw off the blanket. I feared I might be mistaken for a terrorist and shot. I wasn't taking any chances. I didn't want to die at any cost. During the ordeal, there was no structure of my thinking and no logical sequence to the thoughts that ran through my mind, as anyone who has experienced a disaster will tell you. Everything was a blur. Everything was jumbled and disjointed, with frantic moves and heart pounding, horrific tension. All I knew was that there was definitely a higher force directing me, something that made me follow my hunch and leave the room. Something that guided me, which was to turn so I didn't run into the terrorists, who would have killed me in an instant. It was the most precarious situation I had ever found myself in, but miraculously I managed to exit the building. Outside, my friends were waiting to pick me up, and I was so thankful to see them. One problem remained though. I had my wallet and phone with me, but my passport was still in the room. To fly out that very night, I needed a new passport, and I spent the day getting that sorted. In retrospect, some people say I did the right thing by trying to escape, that I was smart and quick thinking. Yet if I had died, would my decision have been considered foolish? When I walked out of the hotel alive, it put a lot of things into perspective. It made me realize that we are just a tiny speck in the universe. Position, power, fame, and money, all the material things that we strive for our entire lives, mean so little in the grand scheme of things. This dramatic episode has humbled me because when you go through something as awful as I did, you understand that it does not matter who you are, where you come from, what position you hold, or how much money you have. None of that can buy what is most important: life. There is a dark of the hotel. It was humanity fighting in the face of inhumanity. And I am blessed I was able to make it out into the light. For Rahul, it has been one of life's fast-forward lessons, a single harrowing incident that forced him to get a new perspective. This is what crisis does, and there are different kinds of ordeals that we all go through. But each one teaches us to rethink, re-evaluate, and finally realign ourselves. This is what Welday learned. Value your family and friends. Cherish what you have. Show your family and friends how grateful you are to have them around you. Live your life, that means by smiling, laughing, and caring. Know your way out. When in a hotel or new location, note where the fire exit is. The fire exit route saved my life, but I had no clue where it was and why I ran where I did. Why did I turn left or right? I may have been lucky, but don't leave everything to chance or luck. Do your bit. I've stayed in hotels for years and don't remember ever paying attention to any of this. It just takes a few seconds to make note of this small but necessary detail, and it could end up saving your life. Get your estate in order. Make sure you have a good insurance policy. Even if you are well off, leave your loved ones better off. Inform them of your bank accounts, assets, and investments. Keep a document listing all the important details with your spouse and close family. Get off autopilot mode. We need to press, pause, and try being a little more human. Instead of just reacting to circumstances, let's endeavor to reflect deeply on our actions and emotions. We need to absorb each moment and take advantage of life's blessings. Help others. Let's encourage people around us who are feeling down or lonely. Inspire them to live fully and be grateful. Each day is a gift and meant to be lived with meaning and quality. Rahul concludes, the most precious of all gifts of life is life itself and love. Today, apart from the threat of terrorism, a major challenge in the form of pandemic continues to confront mankind. A backlash of this, anxiety and fear, are palpable as we face the results of the pandemic in our daily lives. Can we do something about this? At the recent Salzburg Global Seminar, speaker Mark Smolensky said, "This really is a wake-up call as outbreaks will continue to occur. My motto is, don't be scared, get prepared." In my opinion, the first step towards being prepared is to stay calm as far as possible, to stop spreading alarm or misfortune information. Instead, it is advisable to stay informed, in fact be aware of crisis information through reliable sources. But restrict reading about it and approximately for 15 to 20 minutes a day. Obsessing and over-discussing would only lead to more anxiety. Healthline.com advises making it a daily routine to reach out to friends and family. Make sure you call, text, FaceTime or Skype daily with others. During traumatic times, having a sense of connection and a feeling of community is essential for hope and healing, suggests Deborah Serrani, psychologist and author of Sometimes When I Am Sad. It can't be all doom and gloom. Laughing about the situation doesn't hurt anyone and shows that we are all in this together. That's all, my friends, and thank you so much for listening. Until the next one.